Remember the 5th of November.
News tonight, a rare sight, the National Guard.
Election protests intensifying as thousands take to the streets, demanding that every vote be counted. Ainsley.
Ashley Strohmeyer is live with the chaos erupting in cities across our country. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Ainsley, police clashed with a mob of protesters in various cities across the country last night. Now, it was peaceful at first. They raised Biden campaign signs and then chanted, "Count the vote," but then it got completely out of control. 60 people ended up being arrested in New York City for setting fires, spitting in officers' faces, and even punching an NYPD chief in the face. Police also found weapons and loaded magazines during an arrest. Now, in Detroit, protesters were furious over the lack of access to the ballot counting process. Officials ended up padlocking those doors so they couldn't get in. Those protesters were chanting, "Stop the vote," following news of the president filing that lawsuit in Michigan. And a riot was declared in Portland because of
Rolling the
widespread
streets
violence.
of Portland tonight. The governor activating the guardsmen under the advice of the Unified Command after demonstrators smashed windows as the nation awaits results in a tense presidential race.
Good morning. I'm Adam Laxalt. I am a former Navy and Iraq veteran and the former top law enforcement officer of this state. I care deeply about both the rule of law and voter integrity, like the rest of Nevadans and Americans. And we warned for the last few weeks that we could end up in a situation where Nevada decides the fate of the presidency. We warned that the Democrats changed this election system. They gave us mail-in ballots, and despite the fact that there are examples of thousands of ballots being mailed across this valley in trash cans in apartment buildings, people getting as many as 18 ballots to their homes, we knew these rolls were unclean, and we were told that signatures would save us from all fraud. But to date, we still have not been able to observe these signatures or meaningfully challenge a single mail-in ballot out of hundreds of thousands of casts. We firmly believe that there are many voters in this group of mail-in people that are not proper voters. In the last many days, we have received reports of many irregularities across the valley. We believe that there are dead voters that have been counted. We are also confident that there are thousands of people whose votes have been counted that have moved out of Clark County during the pandemic. Today, we have a voter, Jill Stokey, who was denied access to vote. She showed up to vote, and she was told someone had already cast her ballot, and she was denied the opportunity to vote. We are filing in federal district court here in Las Vegas. We're asking for emergency relief, TRO, and injunctive relief. We're asking the judge to, due to all of these irregularities, to stop the counting of improper votes. Thank you.
The courts of Nevada. Can you wait? Yeah, you got it. Look, the reality is that transparency is not political.
Sir, your name?
Ballots are not automatically legal votes until they're checked. We are not being allowed to check. The Harry Reid machine recklessly threw ballots into the mail, and now we cannot check whether or not there are non-residents, which we have evidence, publicly available evidence, that you all in the media should be also looking at. It's publicly available information that non-residents have voted. There is a 30-day residency requirement in the state of Nevada. If you haven't been in the state for 30 days, it is illegal to vote. Reporters have a responsibility. The fact is, we are filing this federal lawsuit to protect legal voters. It is unacceptable in this country to have illegal votes counted, and that is what's happening in the state of Nevada. We've asked Clark County for answers. They have no answers. They continue to count illegal votes. That is unacceptable, and it's giving legal people a sense that the system is corrupt. We have to have a system where legal votes are cast. What the Harry Reid machine has done is throw out recklessly ballots, and now they don't want us to check those ballots, and we are seeing discrepancies all over. We are asking Clark County to give us answers. All of your questions about the details are legitimate questions, and they should be asked of Clark County, because the Clark County officials are silent. They are not giving us any answers, and they continue to count these illegal votes. Ballots versus legal votes. That's what we're talking about. It is unacceptable in this country.
The presidency is literally in the breach.
Listen, you're here to take in information, okay? We'll do your job. It's pretty easy.
The president. Thank you all for turning out. Thank you all for turning out. The presidency literally hangs in the balance, and what the fundamental principle is here is that we want to be able to make sure that the counting that occurs and that the results that happen can be respected by every American voter across this land and truly across the world. If you're not allowed in to see the process, both sides and all of you in the media, so that there is transparency, so that there's meaningful observing of these ballots, that calls into question what those results will be. The idea in this country, the idea in America, that we would somehow reduce or limit the ability to have basic insurance that a ballot is a legal ballot, that a ballot is an acceptable ballot, that the person who voted, that we took minimal steps to make sure that there was a signature match, for instance. Those types of guarantees need to be in the process. And so we have to understand that what's going on in Nevada impacts what's going on all across this country, which is the American people want to have confidence in the results that are coming out of Nevada. That will occur when we can make a case why every ballot is an acceptable, compliant ballot.
Let me do you want to introduce these two, or we can have them introduce themselves? These are individuals who have stories of discrepancy. If you want to state your name and briefly what happened.
Okay.
And we won't take any questions, but you can step up and go right there.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Jill Stokey. I went to vote and was told I already voted. I pursued the matter, and in years past, I always voted in person. This time, they mailed out the ballot, and somebody took my ballot. They also took the ballot of my roommate. I was told by the interviewer from Channel 8, when I said, did other people do this? He said, yes. He said, you're the first double. Thank you.
Ms. Stokey, will you spell your name for us, please?
S is in Sam, T is in Tom, O-K-K-E.
Good morning. I'm Chris Padone. I'm going to give my account what happened. I was here, actually been here for quite a bit, and was here with members of the Trump campaign and came in a media capacity to obtain content information on election night, and unfortunately was stereotyped in that regard, and you can take for that what you may, and was not able to obtain any type of access by any means, and got a little bit, I guess you can say assertive or aggressive is the word, so to speak, and the question was asked at 1:30 in the morning, why are you here? And our response was, well, it's election night. That's why we're here, and you guys are obviously counting ballots. And it was unique because they said they had an hour and a half left of counting to do, and an official came out who was kind and asked us to sign documents, and a few moments later we were asked to leave. Well, I find it ironic we were asked to leave within 10 to 12 minutes when they said they had an hour and a half of counting left to do, and clearly that was an attack I think on any type of conservative media or any individual or entity that wanted to have access and cover. And we find it very unique that other outlets are able to have full access, but we were not given any type of access whatsoever. And they question the validity of my background, any type of media, any type of experience whatsoever. So that was my personal account, and that's it.
Sir, what media were you representing, Chris?
Let me just say this. All of your questions are very good, and they should be asked of Clark County. We don't have access to the information. They are not giving us access to the ballots. The publicly available information raises a lot of questions, and yet we are not getting answers just like you. We're not going to take any more questions today, and I will say that we will have more to say at the end of the day after we file. So all you have to do is ask your questions of Clark County, and we will make sure that we continue the pressure on them too. Thank you very much.
With former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, as you can see in the center of your screen there, and campaign senior advisor Corey Lewandowski, screen left. This is now beginning. Let's listen.
The court just issued an order allowing immediate access for our team to observe the voting process. Immediate access. So our team of 15 people will be headed in right now to observe the vote counting process. This is very important because, as you know, they have kept us away 30 to 50 to 100 feet with a barricade. They had a guy in there wearing a badge who is not a sworn law enforcement officer, keeping people away. This is not a matter for the Secretary of State or Supervisor of Elections. The U.S. Constitution and the legislature, under the U.S. Constitution, the legislature has the right to make these laws which they have made, and a judge just confirmed that they must be followed. So we plan on entering that building right now and legally observing the voting process. Because if there's one illegal vote that is cast, it takes away from the great men and women of Pennsylvania who came out and issued a legal vote. So thank you very much. Corey Lewandowski.
Listen, guys, democracy dies in darkness. This is the opportunity to shed light on what's going on inside this building. Our observers are going to be 6 feet behind every person who's counting these votes in accordance with the COVID protocols. This is a win for every person who's cast a legal ballot in the state of Pennsylvania. We're going to go in here right now. We're going to start watching what's going on, not from 30 feet away, not from 100 feet away, from 6 feet away. This is a win, and what you will see is the Democrats are going to try and stop this from happening. They're going to appeal this decision because they don't want the American people to know what's going on in here. It's time to go in and put some light on what's happening. Thanks for being here, guys.
What are you going to Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, all these folks across the street, you should be allowed to observe and know what's happening with our voting process. That's why this is so important for all parties involved. Thank you. We're going to get our people through. We're afraid of it. It's okay.
We're about to do a press conference.
Come, we're live on TV.
Right now we're live on TV. Van Bondi, Corey Lewandowski. So we want to know whether the sheriff is going to come to enforce the order.
Hey everyone, we wanted to give you an update. They are still not in compliance. Our votes are being suppressed. We cannot count the votes properly. What's happening is they have moved the barrier up to 6 feet, but they took away the ballot machines that were in the front row and moved them to the back of the building. It's unbelievable what they're trying to do to our votes that have been legally cast. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, your legal votes must be tabulated, and they're not doing that. They will not let us see anything. They're trying to drown us out now where we can't be heard. We're not going away. And now we're going to take further remedy to fix this. There's a woman who was in there that Corey's going to talk to you about who represented the city with your tax dollars, and he's going to tell you what she's doing. But we are not going to stand for this. We're not going anywhere. They are defying a court order by a judge, and this is not the last of this.
Listen, guys, your taxpayer money here in the city of Philadelphia is going to a private attorney by the name of Michelle Hangley. And what she said was she would determine if the court order was valid or not. And I'll be happy to release the video of her. They have 8 attorneys fighting us to see these ballots inside. The court order is in effect. They will not give us access. And the sheriff has decided not to come down here to enforce that court order. The sheriff of your county will not come down and enforce a court order. What is going on in this city? What are you hiding? Open up the doors, let us in, let us 6 feet away so that we can have a free and fair election. Whether you voted for Donald Trump or you voted for Joe Biden, everybody has a right to witness what's transpiring here. This makes it look like a kangaroo court. We deserve better, and we're not leaving until we witness every single vote that transpires in here.
England has entered a second lockdown to contain an increase in new coronavirus infections. Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced a nationwide shutdown after warnings that hospitals could soon be overwhelmed with COVID-19 cases. The lockdown will end on December the 2nd. The rest of the UK, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have their own lockdown policies and enacted tougher health restrictions last month. The United Kingdom has the biggest official COVID-19 death toll in Europe and reports thousands of new cases a day.